Live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 125. Thanks for choosing Joy News. I am Emefa Apau. In our headlines there's no plot to remove IGP George Akufu-Dampare. Interior Minister Ambrose Derry says leaked tape must be ignored. We have details as the minority demands an investigation into it. National Food Buffer Stock Suppliers Association rejects proposed part payment of the 270 million debt as fresh information reveals the buffer stock took payment of some 400 million cedis for food supply in 2021, 2022 and 2023. And in your election headquarters tonight, NPP flag bearer aspirant Kwabena Ejapong cautions party don't offer Ghanaians the same faces that have led Ghana here. More as he says Ghana has become a case study for how not to manage an economy. Thanks for staying with us. We are also live on myjoyonline.com and all our social media platforms. And in this edition, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry says there's no plot by government or the NPP to remove IGP Dr. George Akufu-Dampare from office. A leaked tape in circulation has a purported senior police officer and some politicians scheming to oust the IGP. Speaking to Joy News, Ambrose Derry said the IGP has been exceptional in the delivery of his duties and there are no efforts to take him out of office. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante has more.
This leaked tape has set tongues wagging, with some people arguing it has dire security consequence. Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has jumped to the defense of the IGP, insisting he's going nowhere.
I think they should ignore it with the contempt that it deserves. There is no plot to remove anybody. I don't know about anything. As far as I'm concerned, he's doing a good job.
And will you investigate if there is a so-called tape of a certain senior police officer and NPP government officials trying to plot anything of the sort?
Well, I serve my president and I'll do what is policy to bring the development of this country. I'm not sure I want to get involved in any investigation or thing, except that they relate to crime. Then we'll do that. But I think that so far, I think we are doing well.
The minority in parliament are, however, demanding an investigation.
It passes for treason. It is an attempt to subvert the will of the Ghanaian people. The revelations in that audio are very serious. And so, for me, rather than dismiss what is contained in the audio, I think I would urge the Interior Minister to take steps and very quickly to get to the bottom of the matter.
Former police officer and MP for Wa West, Peter Lanchini Tobu, says the NDC will resist attempts to rig the 2024 election. He, however, has concerns the tape may have been AI generated.
If somebody thinks that is the Ayawaso West bygone election type of violence that can lead the MPP to break the 8, then it means that we don't want the Fourth Republic. Because anything like Ayawaso West wagon violence, if anything like that surfaces in the 2024 elections, our democracy problem will be gone. Nobody will sit and take that. I've listened to the audio, and it is quite strange. No commissioner worth his salt will do this. I'm tempted to believe that is that application of AI that has generated the voice and have done such a thing. It is dastardly, it is shameful. From a professional background, I think that is an AI generated something just to deceive the public.
So far, what has been lacking is an official commitment to commence an investigation into these claims of a plot to remove IGP Dr. George Akufu-Dampare. The government, through the Interior Minister, is assuring that they are so satisfied with the work. In fact, the minority have also said that they are satisfied with the work he has done so far. There are those who say that they want some more confirmation in terms of the identity of the persons fingered on the tape before they can comment on this publicly. But this is going to be a raging topic at least for the next few days. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
We'll stay a while longer in Parliament because the Minister for Interior, Ambrose Derry, says he's this time hopeful Parliament will approve an amendment to the Narcotics Control Commission Act. The Supreme Court struck out Section 43 of the bill as unconstitutional. We'll get to hear from the Minister shortly, but first, listen to the Deputy Chairperson of the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament, Ophelia Mensah, recommending the passage of the amendment.
expressed concern about the inability of the judiciary to consult Parliament before deciding to strike out Section 43 of Act 1019 as unconstitutional. The committee, without prejudice to the recognition of the essence of the doctrine of separation of powers in advancing democratic culture and values, is of the conviction that organs of the state need to appreciate that their functions are complementary. Consequently, the three organs of the state should work towards the common conventions. The value of the cannabis industry in the United States of America alone is projected to reach $30 billion annually by 2025, for which reason it has gained increased legislation in other regions. Speaker, there are numerous economic growth opportunities regarding increased tax revenues, job creation, and investment prospects. Mr. Speaker, Ghana should aim to change the narrative of cultivation of cannabis for legal purpose for the benefit of the economy and the health sector. The growth of cannabis could solve the problems of shortages faced by firms that require cannabis for their medical, cosmetic, and industrial needs.
Well, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, took a dig at the Supreme Court yet again, arguing they were misled into striking out Section 43 of the law.
I am tempted to believe that the judgment of the Supreme Court was done in a curium. The court's attention was not drawn to some of these things, and so that might have misled the court to give that ruling. Even though the case referred to says it was Ezuame versus Attorney General and the Speaker of Parliament, the Speaker had no notice of the case and therefore were actually not well represented in the case. I think the Attorney General assumed jurisdiction without our instructions. And so that might have led to this miscarriage of justice. But in the circumstances, I will not be able to put the question. What I can do is to defer the question on the second reading, and that could be done tomorrow. I think that table office should reschedule this, the second reading for tomorrow, where a question will be put.
Now let's hear the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry expressing hope that the bill can be passed when NDC MPs return to Parliament after boycotting sittings today.
I'm sure the chairman has looked and probably wants to give a chance for our colleagues on the other side to make inputs. Because as I told you, there are two ways in which to put Section 43 back. Either a successful review of the judgment of the Supreme Court, which wasn't achieved, or asking Parliament to consider and approve. And I think that the whole thing has to do with the fact that since I'm appealing the whole Parliament, I'm sure tomorrow we have greater numbers and participation on the other side so that we take the decisions in a manner that would help all of us. So I don't have a problem with that. And so because we haven't closed the debate, it will be preemptive and prejudicial to make any personal comments on the matter. Except to say that you shouldn't be looking alarmed. I think people, when they hear cannabis, then it's like, something is killing somebody. I think that we made it clear that recreational use of cannabis is implicit.
Well, in a related development, Member of Parliament for Adansi Asokwa and Minister for Trade and Industry Katie Hammond says he will meet lawyers of James Gyakye in court after he was hauled before court for contempt. Lawyer for Gyakye are asking the High Court to commit the minister to prison for contempt for allegedly making prejudicial comments on the Eastern North MP's criminal trial. Speaking to Joy News, Katie Hammond said he had been served and will face them in court.
Gyakye's lawyers have cited you for contempt. Well, how do you respond?
Like what am I supposed to have done?
They said that you made prejudicial comments that you will go to jail.
To what effect? What is this? I said there's precedent. I'm not sure if those lawyers understand what precedent is, but I think I predicated my statement. with the fact that there is what in legal terms called a precedent. So I'll meet him in court. Some substitute on me. They played the game on me to send me with a document. But, I mean, why would they have to do that? I accepted it. That's not the point. Listen, I don't run away from my responsibilities. I made a statement here in Parliament. If they want to take me up in court, yes, of course. At the end of the day, that's where these matters end up. So what's the big deal about it?
Well, we know that today in court on the substantive matter, the court did not hear the appeal for the lawyers of James Jachikwason to stop the daily proceedings of that particular trial. We'll bring that to you subsequently, but Ghana has become a case study for how not to run an economy, and the Ghana Beyond Aid mantra has failed. Speaking at his campaign launch, Kwabena Ejapong, flag-bearer aspirant of the NPP, cautioned the governing party not to offer Ghanaians the same faces that have led the country into what he describes as struggles for the 2024 presidential election.
We must be honest enough to admit that the Akufo-Addo government, despite chalking successes in road and health infrastructure, tourism, and of course education, it has struggled to deliver on a number of fronts. We started out saying that we're breaking dependency on the Western donor agencies. The slogan, Ghana Beyond Aid, rang from the Jubilee House with intensity and vigor. But today, we lie on a stretcher before the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and Ghana has become, in the eyes of many, a case study of how not to do it. It is true that the international climate has been hostile, but how many countries have had inflation skyrocket to 54%? And in fact, food inflation hitting the roof. And our city only just slightly recovering after a wild tailspin last year. These are stark signals of economic distress, and we cannot hide these facts. We've had to endure a painful debt exchange program with our pensioners laying siege at the finance ministry. Our party, the MPP, cannot afford to put forward those who led us to this state. I want to repeat myself. Our party, the MPP, therefore, cannot afford to put forward those who led us to this state and expect Ghanaians to embrace them during the 2024 election. We need a new face, a pair of clean hands, a leader to reconnect with our base and earn the trust of Ghanaians.
Well, Mr. Ejapong believes to put the country back on track of a competent state, there is a need for a clean break from the status quo and put in motion a leadership regeneration.
I can see a bright future. We can create a competent state, one that works at pace, one that ensures compliance with rules and regulations and enforces its own regulations. This is a collective task, and that will need people of every gender, all faiths, people from all parties, every single ethnic group in the country, peasants, workers, bosses, everyone. We are the royal people of Ghana. Our country needs us, and we must step up to the challenge. We cannot change things by simply doing the same things that got us into this spot of bother. Leadership is of critical importance in social relations everywhere in this world, and Ghana is no exception. And Ghana needs leadership regeneration. To take Ghana to the promised land we all desire, we need a new lease of life, new energy, systems thinking, and structural approaches that cause us to change course. We must agree on this: the new dawn, the new direction, and a new dimension.
Now, should he be given the nod by his party and voted for to become president, Kwabena Ejapong intends to, among others, reduce the number of ministers and cap the number of Supreme Court judges to 9.
This new dawn, I envision a Ghana that is economically robust, resilient, fiscally responsible, socially cohesive, and fully accountable to the good people of Ghana. The new dawn is hinged on the following. 1, a lean, wholly downsized government, one that works efficiently, effectively to deliver to the aspirations and expectations of the Ghanaian people. The ministries will be reconfigured to align with the constitutional cap of 19 cabinet, to be assisted by an equal number of deputies, in addition to the 16 in the regions, making up a team of 54. Stakeholder consultations will be undertaken to introduce an upper limit of 9 judges on our Supreme Court and possibly remove the retirement age of 70 and allow Supreme Court judges to serve until they are unable to perform their functions. 2, enforcing law and order, imposing discipline and ensuring compliance of rules and regulations. A zero-tolerance policy anchored on a drastic penalty regime, coupled with a strong political will to punish those who tinker with our public treasury. The law should work, and it should work to uproot corruption.
Kwabena Ejapong is among 10 NPP flag-bearer aspirants who are awaiting the vetting committee's report on who moves forward in search for a flag-bearer, and that committee's report has already been handed to the party. We await what happens. But let's interrogate further some of the issues that have come up in this particular campaign launch by Kwabena Ejapong. Thankfully, we've been joined via Zoom by a political scientist with the University of Ghana, Dr. Asante. We are grateful for your time here on Joy News Prime. So let's find out whether Ghanaians will not forgive the NPP if it puts forward anyone from this government as presidential candidates. I ask that because we've heard at least aspirants who were also part of government who've come out and they criticize this same government as performing poorly. What really did they not do right? Why didn't they raise it whilst they were in government?
Good evening to your viewers. I think it's a good question. Actually, that is the problem that those who really want to contest are likely to face. That what is it that you have that you could not share with your government, whether in government or outside government? So nobody can be excused with regard to this question. And I'm sure you are the right people to deal with it.
It appears we've just got frozen there. Dr. Asante.
$1 million question for them. Mm-hmm. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I lost you briefly. Yes, I lost you briefly. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm saying that it's $1 million question for all the contestants, because whether you are in government or outside government, mm-hmm. you need to share this idea that you have for government to deal with any problem that confront the government. So nobody can be excused with regard to this issue of whether you have something to share and you refuse to share, or whether you are in government or you are not. Once you are in the party, there is a collective, responsibility on your part to help your government to survive.
But are you particularly surprised, as many are, about how these candidates are coming out the way they are coming in terms of the attacks and forthrightness when it comes to this particular campaigning?
The forthrightness is apt, and I support it because it brings to the fore that who you are and what you stand for. Kwabena Ejapong, for instance, I like the way he speaks with vigor, and then he is able to articulate his views clearly. And you can see the line of departure he wants to have. These are all ingredients of governance, and we require it for any leader worth his or her salt. But the issue about they taking a swipe at each other, I have cautioned them, and not only me, but the good people of this country have cautioned them. Because from political communication perspective, if you destroy any of, if they end up destroying themselves, and obviously one will emerge as winner, and then if he is lucky and is voted into office as a president, is voted as a flag bearer, you are going to campaign for him, by which time you have already damaged him. How are you going to repair that image that you have destroyed? And that is going to affect them. But it seems to me that all these things are falling on deaf ears, and they are at free range attacking each other. There is a price that they will pay. So they need to be very careful. It's very painful that you have really gone through a difficult election and you have won. And that the things that your own party members have said have become the building blocks for messages against you from your opponent. that will be very, very, very difficult for them to bear. But it seems to me that they are not ready to listen to that. So let's see how it goes, and that the reality will dawn on them.
Well, you've been watching the scene for quite some time, and most of the charge, at least Kwame Japong in particular, he started with "do not elect a poodle," making, issues and raising issues about now our economy being on a stretcher, amongst others. And he cautions delegates also not to elect people who have been in the forefront that has led the country to where it is now. Do you get a sense that delegates will actually reward those who will come forward to speak truth to power, or they will stick to what they know?
It's a difficult one. It's a whole mix of factors that go into the choices that delegates make. But I'm also clear in my mind that what Mr. Japong is saying will resonate with those who believe in maintaining a very clean party at all times. Because what he said are very interesting. Some of them, I've touched on them. You recall that I did say all the time that the issue of Supreme Court, cap them. We need to cap them. Why is it that the U.S. has 9 judges and we have 15 and still counting? All right, I'm happy they've seen wisdom in this and they are talking about that. The issue of the size of government. Ghanaians have talked about it, so I'm happy he's re-echoing that point. But I disagree with him with the 54 ministers, because I have said that we should reduce it to 19. It's doable. So that, yes, the Constitution says that we should have a cabinet of 19. Make any cabinet minister, 16 of them as regional ministers as well. So they double as regional ministers and then also ministers as state. So if we are able to go on that route, I'm sure it's going to help us. And then what he also said, which is refreshing to me, that he has seen that waste is a problem, financial waste within the system, and he wants to deal with that. It is a plus because he has seen through the books, and he being somebody who has worked in the presidency, he is coming from a certain background, an informed background. So I support that call. And then, of course, the mighty and the almighty corruption, that he wants to deal with it. I believe that voters should be able to consider these things and then give people who have this type of ideas the nod, than to pander to people who go about with slogans and gestures which do not help us to govern this country at all.
Okay, I will be slow in conferring the title of a prophet on you, but really there are things that you've said that has come to pass. And looking at the campaign, at least a few of them have launched their campaign already, as we're seeing, and others are yet to do so, even though we are yet to hear from the party who qualified and who has been disqualified. Do you get a sense that it will get dirtier than this?
If the leaders of the party, I'm talking about the Council of Elders, don't put their foot down, I'm sure that we will get to the level that you and I don't want. It is in their interest to stop the people now before they do harm to the party. But it seems to me that the leaders in the party are looking on, and there is a price for them to pay, as well as those who want to contest. They have to do clean campaign, but attacks on individual will worsen their plight, I can assure them.
Dr. Kwame Asante, we are grateful always for spending time with us. This is Joy News Prime, and let's focus on this particular running story. And the National Food Suppliers Association had stated it will reject any proposed part payment of the 270 million debt owed them. This comes after the Education Minister disclosed to leadership of the food suppliers that he has made a total of 400 million cedis to the buffer stock company as of January 2023, meant to clear the arrears. The group suspended a 4-day picketing of the National Food Buffer Stock Company's premises last Friday after the government promised to pay the debt. But 6 days before the proposed payment date could elapse, the food suppliers have issued a statement taking an entrenched position on the matter after a meeting with Education Minister Dr. Yawase Duchum. And the statement that we know goes on to say between 2021 and 2023, the Minister for Education said they've released 418 million cedis to the National Food Buffer Stock Company. So it's giving them the history. So it talks about 100 million, 283 million, and 35 million. So that's for the period of 2021, 2022, and 2023. These are the amounts that have been released by the Education Ministry or the Finance Ministry for that matter. And it goes on to say that despite the minister's claim of releasing 283 million in 2022 for arrears, the National Suppliers Association members haven't received any payment. The minister said the January 2023 payment of 35 million was remaining, and the balance of 2022 arrears owed the National Food Suppliers Association. And then also the minister pledged partial payment of arrears this week, stating government cannot pay full arrears. The National Suppliers Association are rejecting the partial payment due to accumulated interest on loans from respective banks. Okay, so that's the statement from the National Food Suppliers Association on this. We are yet to hear from the National Buffer Stock on whether indeed these amounts have been released to them. This is Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We're right back. Live on Joy News Prime, this is Joy News. Now, the decision to deliver a baby through cesarean section or opt for a vaginal delivery is a significant choice for expectant mothers. While vaginal delivery is the natural and most common method of childbirth, an increasing number of women are opting for cesarean. My colleague Karen Obing explores some of the reasons why some individuals choose cesarean sections over vaginal delivery.
A baby is delivered through cesarean section. The mother is relieved. She had endured long hours of labor, and finally, the doctor decided to remove the baby surgically. A gynecologist at the Rich Hospital, Dr. Richard Apiankroma, explains why many women are choosing cesarean section over vaginal delivery.
Technology has made CS, to be very frank, very, very simple. But it is not as simple as it is, because just like any other surgery, it has complications. So we counsel them thoroughly. We let them know that these are the risks involved, and we assess them, and then we let them know that, Madam A, I think, or we think that you are fit for a vaginal delivery. But we also let them know that if you do need a CS with monitoring, we will just go in quickly. The key thing is when you counsel them, and then such patients, you just need to monitor them closely. It's the close monitoring that we need to prevent unnecessary CS. Some of them just need close monitoring, and they'll deliver beautifully. That is what we need in Ghana. And monitoring goes with staff and equipment and so many things, and that's what we are lacking. So people don't want to go through that stress of when you go to this place, they don't have so many money. So doctor, just do CS for me, and then let me be free, and then people to go. You can do it in less than an hour. It depends also on the condition. For example, if a patient comes with a fetal distress, where a baby is literally dying, you have to go in. You have to be very fast. So you can do that surgery within 30 minutes, but averagely I would just say like an hour. If you take your time, an hour, you should be done. The emergencies keep coming. It really gets tough in the night, so you have to, sometimes from 8 going, you can do like 6 before the next morning, because people refer late. That's what people refer. So people go to their antenatal clinic at peripheral facilities, and then after seeing them, they'll refer them to come. So by the time they get here, some from very far places, by the time they get here, it's like 8, 9. And then we have those who we are seeing, the labor will set in at dawn, and they will come in and they realize that no, there's a problem.
Cesarean section was dangerous when it started in the 1500s in Switzerland, when one Jacob Neuffer performed it on his wife. But over the years, regional anesthesia, including spinal and epidural anesthesia, have also been developed and become popular methods of relieving pain and improving outcomes after cesarean section. The World Health Organization recommends that cesarean section be performed only when medically necessary. But many women in Ghana opt for cesarean section as an elective. Some mothers say they fear vaginal tear and hence opt for the procedure.
For me, in my opinion, I chose it because I feel it's the simplest way to, go through the labor pains and all that. The thought of you being cut or pain and all that, I didn't want that. I didn't want to go through the trauma of, cutting my skin. So I felt like, let me just put myself to sleep and then, voila, they are done with it. So
I chose to do an elective CS because I think I had some fears about doing the natural labor. I have heard many stories from friends, from family, of how women have had to endure severe pain without any form of pain management during labor, and really I wanted to avoid that experience. Apart from the fact that you would endure pain, you might have some unplanned tears and all that, and really I didn't want that experience.
But this is just one reason some women will consider cesarean section. Others want surgical removal of their babies because they believe spontaneous vaginal delivery loosens the vaginal wall. It is one of the reasons all manner of concoctions and creams are available on the market to help women tighten their vaginal walls. But an obstetrician at LMS Hospital, Dr. Paddy Ayete, says it is only a myth. On using concoctions to firm the vaginal wall, he cautions against it. Dr. Paddy Ayete is advising women to be open-minded about childbirth methods and engage medical professionals to help them choose the best method to protect their lives as well as that of their children. The moral of the story: when in doubt, consult a doctor. Karen Obing's report read to you.
What will it be for you, vaginal birth or CS? We'll keep on thinking about that. Now, the Ghana Health Service says it is committed to providing sustainable health service and care for people. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje, reviewed that expertise is required to surmount challenges on health promotion. He was speaking at the launch of the National Interagency Coordination Committee for Health Promotion. There's more in this report by my colleague Jacqueline and Sumayeboa.
To coordinate public education geared towards improving the well-being of the people in the country, the Ghana Health Service has established the National Interagency Coordinating Committee for Health Promotion in Ghana. Explaining why there is a need for such a committee, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje, said there is a tremendous increase in non-communicable diseases which will necessitate the sharing of knowledge from various stakeholders to deal with the problems.
We are facing a more Herculean task now. The emergence and the rapid increase in non-communicable diseases is a major problem. This requires not just resources but also major behavior change. We know from their diverse background they can help us in navigating all the challenges across so that we can improve the health of this country. We saw how COVID affected every sector of this country, and that's the way we want to ensure that we also tackle it in all society and all groups. And that's why we have this more diverse group helping us to promote health in the country.
He revealed that supervisory assessments will be done to ensure the effectiveness of the committee.
Apart from what they themselves will do, we always have assessment done from DHS, our own annual reports, our own coverages will help us to see whether the change in behavior is taking place, and if so, is it creating an impact.
chairperson of the Interagency Coordinating Committee for Health Promotion in Ghana, Professor Elsie Ifakofman, says the committee will ensure that health-related issues are duly promoted and coordinated.
We have subcommittees, and then we have all kinds of plans and activities that we'll be drawing up to be able to do that. So you'll see us promoting health. You'll see us trying to get the public sector to be interested in what government is doing. It's a partnership. And so you'll see us trying to encourage people to live a much more healthy life and organizing various groups across the country to do this the same. It's a coordinating committee, so we are coordinating all the efforts. So there's a lot that is already happening, but you'll see that many of the times that you have these promotion programs going on, there is no coordination. Everybody is doing what they like. It's our job really to come up with a strategy to harmonize all of the various activities that are going on so that we can use the synergies to do much, much better than what has been happening. So you'll see the old programs going on, you'll see new programs coming up, and the idea is that all of them should be able to fit into a general strategy that we have for promoting health in the country.
The National Interagency Coordinating Committee for Health Promotion in Ghana is tasked to ensure improved communication, cooperation, and collaboration that will harness and coordinate advisory resources of key stakeholders to improve well-being whilst being advocates for health promotion. For Joy News, Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
Now, let me take you to the Ashanti region where police at Ninahin have arrested a police corporal for alleged robbery. Corporal Lansu Umar, stationed at Assam near Mompong, is said to have broken the security door to the house of another policeman and stolen several bags of cement with the help of an accomplice. A resident in the Nyame neighborhood of Ninahin is said to have heard an unusual noise of the breaking and alerted other neighbors of the incident. Ohiming Terrier of our security desk has more.
The policeman and his accomplice, 25-year-old tricycle rider Mohammed Seidu, are said to have used a pickaxe to destroy and break into a foreign-made security door of the room where 200 bags of cement were being kept. The two fled the scene, leaving a tricycle behind before the arrival of other neighbors who later reported the incident to a police night patrol team. Traces of the tricycle led to the arrest of Seidu, who mentioned Corporal Umar as the other accomplice. He led the police to the home of Umar, who led police to where he kept 12 bags of cement from the crime. Evangelist Richard Ampa witnessed the arrest.
I was at home by 12 a.m. and I got a call that the house that we are working on it, somebody has break it. And I came here, and it is true. The person used pickers to break the China door. It is a very hard door, but he managed to break it. And the cement there was about 55 cement. Okay. After investigation, when the police arrived, they suspect him. And at the end of the day, he shows that it is him who took the cement. And he showed the place he has put the cement to.
The arrest of Corporal Lansa Umar has left residents of Nyinahini, including Evangelist Ampa, a mason who works for Umar, shocked. It comes at a time when the area has been recording break-ins.
I know the policeman very well, but I don't know why she did this. I don't expect him to do this. It's very bad. And as at now, I'm confused because as a policeman, you know the laws, the rules and regulations that govern the country. So we have to do it so that you come to arrest us. But for a policeman to still, I have heard it, but I haven't seen it before. But now they have seen that they can do it.
Meanwhile, police sources say the two will be put before court soon. From Nyinahini in the Ashanti region for Joy News, Ohiming reporting.
Now, the Mennonite Economic Development Associates, MEDA, has launched the Phase 2 of its Greater Rural Opportunities for Women Grow 2 project in the Northern region. The 5-year project, funded by Global Affairs Canada, is to help improve economic and social empowerment for smallholder women farmers, entrepreneurs and agribusinesses in the northern, Savannah and Upper West regions of Ghana. The project is targeted at 40,000 women farmers, 5,000 entrepreneurs and 50 agribusinesses led by women in soybean and groundnut value chain.
The launch brought together women farmers, agribusinesses, financial institutions, among other stakeholders, to officially outdoor the program. The 5-year project, when completed, is expected to not just transform the lives of women, but also sustain their sources of income. Speaking at the event, the Northern Regional Minister, Shani Alhassan Shaibu, said he was excited that the project was going to address challenges women face in the agriculture sector.
Contribution to the GDP in recent years. The northern, Savannah and Upper West regions heavily rely on agriculture as a source of livelihood and for the majority of the population in this area, particularly women farmers.
The Deputy Director, Ghana Development Program at the High Commission of Canada, Louise Paris, on her part, said government support in the agricultural sector is in line with their international assistance policy.
So Canada's support to the agriculture sector of Ghana is in line with our feminist international assistance policy and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, particularly goal number 5 on gender equality. Through our partnership with the government of Ghana and organizations like MEDA, we are witnessing increased empowerment and self-reliance among women in the agricultural sector.
MEDA Regional Director of the West Africa, Middle East and North Africa, Dr. Pierre Cadet, said the project will help create a lasting change and the overall economic development of the 3 regions.
Building upon these successful endeavors, MEDA is now embarking on Grow 2 journey and ambitious project aimed at further benefiting 40,000 smallholder women farmers, entrepreneurs, and agri-businesses through increased agricultural productivity, improved business environment, and increased gender equality in families, communities, and selected value chains.
In an interview with Joy News, project coordinator of the Group 2, Francis Esuman, said the project is helping women connect more with other businesses.
Okay, so I think what we are doing is to provide opportunities for women to be able to connect more with the private sector partners at the last mile level. What we realize is that most of the time, the adoption of practices for women, it's low because they don't get the opportunity to be able to connect more, to interface, and to establish business connection with businesses and also service providers who have these technologies to offer for them.
2 beneficiaries, a plant breeder at the Dimbone Farm Gates, Dr. Sanatu Mustafa Alidu, and a farmer, Zakaria Abdullah, shared their thoughts on the project.
Before I walked into the program, I had delivered another 100 acres of seed to the farmers.
I have benefited from the Grow 2 project a lot. In the past, I used not to share my secrets and thoughts with my wives. We all kept our secrets to ourselves. But after lessons and advocacy we learned from the project, it has helped create harmony in my home.